guys, we are here for our last Library Mouse lesson. And when we read Library Mouse, we're talking about what good readers do. But just because this is our last Library Mouse lesson does not mean that we're going to forget about what good readers do.
Right.
It means that we are going to take what we've learned, we're going to use it to finish Library Mouse, and then we're going to keep practicing it throughout the year, because I know good readers read a lot of books. So now that we know how to do all of these things, we should use that when we read our next book and the book after that, and when you're reading to yourself at home. So I'm really excited to find out what happens. But before we do, let's go back through these things so we really can use them. And I'm going to do a different color. I think it might be helpful if we add some picture clues to this so that we can kind of link what it says in words to pictures in our brain, because I'm a visual person.
Me too.
Okay. So, if something that good readers do is listen carefully, what picture could we draw to go with listen carefully? What would be like a clue to our brain? What do you think, Miss
Right
Allen?
away, I'm thinking ears, because we got to hear in order to listen.
Right, that's where all the information goes. It goes right in there.
That ear and
Up
moves
to my brain.
there.
Okay. So if I'm going to be a good listener and I'm going to listen carefully as a reader, I'm going to put an ear here, because that's my goal. I want to be able to listen carefully. Okay. This one says learn new words and information. If I'm a good reader and as I'm reading, I think, oh, I don't know that word. That's new. Or, oh, I didn't know that before. That's new. What's like a picture you feel like fits with that, Miss Allen?
So when you're learning stuff, everything goes up here in the brain, right? Because
Okay.
you're listening, goes through your ears and goes up there in that brain.
Oh, that's right. These are connected. When I
That's
listen
right.
carefully, that's how I learn the new words and information. So maybe we draw like somebody's head, right? So here's his eyes, there's his nose, there's his mouth. But his head's kind of like open so that we can see his brain.
And his thoughts.
Woo! And we talked about maybe like a light bulb to show like, woo,
Yeah.
my light's going on up there. I'm really thinking. But it's also maybe asking some questions too.
too.
Like, oh, I wonder what that word means. Or like, oh, I wonder what they mean by that. Okay, so we're going to listen carefully. We're going to learn new words and information. This one says, link what we read to our own lives. Meaning like when something is happening in a book and we're using our brain, we can think, oh, that makes me think of when or oh, my friend did that.
Yeah.
Or I've seen that before somewhere. So what can we draw a picture of down here, do you
So
think?
we're
Miss
going to
Atwood?
put the link, like a chain link. So you remember, then you you read it, goes to your brain, and then you can speak it.
Okay, so we've got like something that happens in the book, and then something that's happened to me, and then something that happened in the book, and then something that happened to me. Kind of like that, like when you see like a necklace chain,
Yeah.
or like a link in a chain fence, right? Like things are hooked together. So we've got some links here. The book and my brain, the
connection.
book and my brain, a connection. I like that. So what about share ideas and feelings? Because I want to be able to talk about what I'm reading with other people and say, oh, you know, this makes me feel like that, or I really think this is a great idea. So what could we draw there, Miss Atwood?
So we're going to think about feelings. When you think of feelings, is your heart broken or is your heart happy? So we're going to talk and share. So we need somebody with a mouth that's going to talk and share, and then you get to feel how that, whatever that you talked about, how it makes you feel.
I like that. Okay, so we have a person talking about their ideas and their feelings are coming from their heart. Okay, so I hope that we can do this as we finish Library Mouse, and I hope that we can continue to do this with all the other books that we read this year. Listen carefully, learn new words and information, link what we read to our own lives, and then share our ideas and feelings, because that's what we do as a community of readers, is we listen to what other people think and feel, and then we tell them how we think and feel. All right, so when Sam was feeling a little bit scared in this story, we needed to find out what was going to happen next. So I know that Sam was scared a couple times though, right? He didn't want to be that mountain climber.
No.
He didn't want to get in that Jeep. And now we're wondering about the airplane. Right? So I'm wondering if he really does get in the airplane. It says, throughout the day, Sam was so nervous he could hardly sleep or read. He didn't want to let Sarah or himself down, but he didn't want to get into that airplane either. That night, bookshelf. The airplane looked very far away. We're explorers and good jumpers too. We can do it, Sarah said. Sam clenched his teeth and crept to the edge. Follow me, Sarah said, and then she jumped. Sam jumped too and climbed into the seat behind Sarah. We're off to see the world, she cried. But just at that moment, the string that held the airplane broke.
Ooh.
So I'm going to take a minute because there were some new words that came up in that section of the story that I felt like might be important or new. So one of them was clenched. It says Sam clenched his teeth. And I want you to look at Sam in that picture. And I want you to try and go like this. Like when you're scared and your teeth go together. That's what it looks like he's doing there. And then he crept to the edge. Because when you're nervous, sometimes you do things really slowly. So when you creep, right?
Yeah.
It's not something you're doing very quickly.
That's
It's like
creep.
kind of slow and quiet. So I'm wondering about how I would feel, Miss Atwood, if I were Sam and I just jumped into this airplane
Right.
expecting
Then
to be
it
like
breaks.
on the ceiling and then it breaks, right? Show me your face. What
I'd be scared to death. I'd be holding it tight.
Right, because that's what he was worried about.
Yes.
And then it really happened. Oh no, poor Sam. Oh, but not Sarah. Listen, she says, woohoo! Sarah hollered. Ah! Sam screamed. They sailed over the Eiffel Tower and the Great Wall of China, over the Statue of Liberty and the Great Pyramids. They sailed past volcanoes and mountaintops, past coral reefs and deserts, between dark rows of bookshelves, and right out the door of the children's room. So that must be the room that they live in the library, because there's
Right.
lots of sections. Holy guacamole.
Yeah.
I think, again, if I'm going to share my ideas and feelings, I think it really kind of sums up Sarah and Sam right there when with the sound
Yeah.
effects, right?
Yeah.
Sarah screaming like excited,
Yay.
woo! And then Sam going. I think it just shows the differences in their personalities.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
One joy and one with fear.
So it says that they sailed right out of the door of the children's room. I wonder if it'll keep going. The airplane bumped to a stop in the dark hallway. Sam leapt out of his seat. He didn't stop running until he was back in his little hole in the wall. Sam! Sarah cried, come back! Explorers don't run from danger. Now, if it were me and I was in this airplane and it just crashed, I'd probably run too. But it is true. Explorers don't run from danger.
Right.
You know, you got to be brave. You got to face your
That's
fears.
right.
So I see a little bit of Sam and a little bit of Sarah. I
Right.
can see it both ways. Sam hid behind his bed and wouldn't come out. But later, when his heart stopped pounding, he went to his writing desk, picked up his pencil, and got to work on a new project. Now, before I continue, I want you to see this picture. Can you figure out what Sam's new project was? This is how he was feeling when he got out of that airplane, and this is what he ended up doing. What does it look like he wrote about?
Oh, looks like he was writing about him and Sarah.
In their airplane ride. Look, and they're both
Yes, look at that.
smiling
Uh-huh.
in the picture. So maybe it just took Sam some
A
time.
time to think about it.
Right, get used to it, right? Kind of process what happened. I think that's true for some of us. Sometimes we just need a little while to
Yeah.
kind of settle ourselves down. But I love the way that he used his experience and turned it into
Into a
something,
book.
right?
Reading, yeah.
Because sometimes that is really fun to write down the things that we
That
do
you do.
and tell those stories so then we can look back on them and go, remember that time,
Yeah.
right? And so you can write real stories or you can write made up stories because this story is actually
Made up.
made up, right? It's
Yeah.
about mice climbing things and jumping in
Yeah.
airplanes and
Yeah.
writing books. So it's a made up story, but Sam's story in his world would be real because they really
Because
did
he
that.
did it, yeah.
So it says, he picked up his pencil and got to work on a new project. Readers and writers are explorers too, he said. Wow, Sarah said the next evening when she saw Sam's book, Sam and Sarah See the World. We're both a couple of explorers. And we never had to leave the library, said Sam. I think that's really important when it comes to learning new words and information is that you can be your own kind of explorer by reading books and then writing your own stories. You don't ever have to really leave your house.
Yeah, because your imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, especially true right now when we can't go all the places that we want to go.
Yeah.
Books and reading and writing can really help us through these more challenging times. I think that's pretty important. We didn't have to leave the library, Sarah said with a twinkle in her eye, but just think of the books you could write if you really got to see the world. What do you say we take a little research trip? And they strolled through the library. Sam didn't even know what to say. He had never met a mouse like Sarah. So I think that's important too, is that you can't stay shut in your house your whole life, right?
Right,
If you don't get out and
right.
experience things and try new things, then you're never going to have any fun.
That's right.
Never going to learn anything.
There's so much out there to see.
So I think my big takeaway from this book is that there's a lot of different ways to do things, and everybody has a way of doing them that makes them feel good, right? Like
Yes.
Sarah's way of getting to learn things and know things was to,
It's the move, be there, do it.
yeah, she's kind of like in it, right?
Yes,
She wants to
she's out there
experience
to
it.
do
She's
it.
full of action. And then Sam's way of like
A little
learning,
bit more settled and reading and writing.
reading and writing. And they're both equally important, right?
Right,
And
they
so I
are.
think our takeaway is that, you know, everybody has their strengths. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
kind of does things a little bit differently. But as long as you're, you know,
Getting that same satisfaction or same idea or same situation done, and you can do it in different ways but get the same result.
and that's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay for somebody to like something one way and do something one way. And it's okay if Miss Atwood wants to do it her way and be different, right?
Yep,
I think that's
and
important.
it gets done.
Yeah. But when they work together as a
Team, yeah, they were a little bit exciting. At least she kind of showed Sam something different to do too.
sometimes we're almost better when we work together
Yeah.
as a team because I'll bring
Yeah.
one strength and Miss Atwood will bring a different strength, and then we can kind of combine them to show each other, you know, something new.
Something different.
So what I think would be a good way to write about this, because again, that's our goal, is to use a pencil and paper, kind of like Sam, to put something down, get our ideas
Right.
out, okay, is trying something new this year, because that was kind of what Sam was doing throughout the whole book, is even though it made him uncomfortable, made him a
Yeah.
little scared, right, he was always pushing himself to do something new. So maybe we'll say, this year, I want, oh, Mrs. Peterson made a really big N there, want to, and then kind of set a goal for yourself.
What you
What's-
want to do.
What's something that you either want to be able to actually do like Sarah, or something you want to learn more about like Sam? So it could be like a school thing that you want to be able to do, or a school thing that you want to learn, or it could be outside of school, something that you want to be able to do outside of school like Sarah, or something you want to be able to learn outside of school like Sam. So,
Right.
Miss Atwood, what were you thinking your goal this year might be?
Well, my goal this year is to put a divider between my kitchen and my dining room, so it's going to be like a little bar. So, and I plan to do it myself. So I got to learn a little bit, take measurements, and I'm gonna get that done before the year is out.
Okay, so you're going to kind of remodel your house a little bit, but you have to do some research before you
Right.
dive in and actually
Yes.
start, like, you know, chopping
Yes,
things up and
that's
cutting things.
right.
Okay, that sounds really good. So this year, as you guys know, I moved into a new house, so I don't have any really inside my house things to do, but I finally have like a yard
Yeah.
and plants, you know, and I kind of want to be a better gardener this year. Someone who can take care of their outside. I just got a palm tree put in the front yard
Yeah.
yesterday. So I feel like I need to read about how to take care of plants, like palm trees. Like I don't know what kind of water they need, their
Yeah.
sun, how to trim them.
Right.
I want to plant some vegetables this year,
And
grow
when
a
to
garden.
plant them.
Yes. What kinds grow best where? When do I
Right.
need to plant them? How to, you know, make sure that they can grow and stay healthy. So that's my goal for this year, is to
Okay.
become a better gardener,
Gardener.
not kill all my plants. All right? So I want you guys to come up with a goal for yourselves this year and write that down and then take a picture of it just like you have been doing on Seesaw. Remember, tomorrow is going to be Fun Firsty Friday. So we're not pushing anything new out lesson-wise. You're going to see a fun thing from Miss Atwood. You're going to see a fun Letterland activity, but not a new lesson from me. And then you're going to be able to get on your enhancement teachers' Bitmoji classrooms and work through that, and then use the time to kind of catch up on any work that you didn't get done this week. So you won't really be seeing a video from me tomorrow. You'll just see Miss Atwood's video tomorrow. I might call in and check on you that way, but we love you and we hope you have a great rest of your day.